Okay, I just want to talk about using letter tiles. Um, I know some programs use letter tiles exclusively. I prefer to do writing as much as possible because, there's this connection between the letter formation, the kinesthetic, and learning the sounds easily. Anyway, but most kids get tired of writing. It's physically difficult. And you see them starting to clench, and it's like, okay, they've had enough writing. Let's let's not do let's not get to the point where they burn out. So rather than stopping the lesson, we transfer over, or I transfer over to using letter tiles. Um, I want to keep the learning going, even though I can see that they're physically tired of doing the writing. I have used in the classroom, I like to use magnetic pieces at that point, and I would use these baking trays, and I would print all of my sounds out on a document and laminate it and cut it apart, put magnets on it, and I have these, or I made a set using some game pieces I found that were magnetized, and I just spray painted them and wrote on them, and I made these. So I had a set, a small set that I used, but I'm not sending these home with kids. And so, and I'm certainly not, going to let kids interchange these things right now. So I'm mostly using the virtual tiles from whatever platform I'm using. So I mostly use virtual tiles, but then for some of the littles, even the virtual tiles are difficult to work with, and for some it's too distracting. It's like, oh, now I have a pen to use too, and I can write on it. Well, you've got the virtual tiles and whatnot. Or for some, it's just like, okay, now I've got you into Jamboard, now I have to get you back into Meet, or I'm using this, and anyway, just that extra step of moving back and forth. For some of my small groups with the little guys, I'm just going to use letter boards. And what I've done in the past, besides the magnetic trays, is I would have some where I made some where I laminated and put Velcro on, and I put a felt sheet on my file board, and they use this. But this took a lot of work, and I found that kids didn't like the sound and the grip here. My kids didn't care for these very much, and that took a lot of time. And then for years, I've done, I would just do Post-it letters, and I would write on the Post-it, just handwrite and put it on. But for a whole group, what I've also done is I printed on the Post-its. So to print on a Post-it, it's doable. Just want to make sure your Post-its don't get stuck in the printer. And the way I do that, and I've tried some where I had it pre-done as a document with a font that I made in whatever it was, 96 font or something. But I could never get the spacing the way I wanted it. I don't like it when sometimes the space is weird, or if I had the box show around it. So the easiest thing I found to do was I would take a plain piece of paper and I would stick my Post-its all over it for as many as I got as a spacing. Then I would take another paper, put it over it, and then looking through so I could see where the Post-its are, I wrote all my letters. So just looking through the paper, you know how when you hold it up to the light, looking through the paper, I would just write my letters. And for this, I wanted 2 letters on each Post-it. And I could see that they were fairly well spaced because I could look through it and see where the Post-it was and get it where I wanted it. So then this became my master. I made a couple of copies of this. On one of the copies, so here's my master, make a copy of it. So then on this one, I then take all my Post-its and just cover it right over the letters so that I know that I've got it centered. I just take my Post-its, cover it right over top of these letters. I don't have any boxes that then make lines around my printed Post-its. I just cover the letters with my Post-it, and this is what feeds through the printer. And then I take the other one, this becomes my original, this is what gets fed. I just cover it. So the trick is to make sure all the sticky parts are always on the top that gets fed through the printer, right? So I cover the whole thing with stickies. Press this in well, cover the whole thing. And on my printer, I put it face down with the top part going through the printer, and it comes out printed like this. When I'm done, I have this. So I'm doing this, and I'm just going to slice these in half and stick it on my file folders and send these to the kids. And then I just do it again. So I'll put more Post-its on for the next. So this way I can get more folders done with fewer Post-its by putting 2 on each, and get them done faster rather than handwriting a whole classroom set of these. It does take a little while to put the Post-its on, but then it just runs through and it's done. And then, you know, if they get lost, it's just a Post-its. You know, the kids at home can then rewrite some extra Post-its if they lose them. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing to print the Post-its to make the letter tiles.